G'day, Bevan Addison from Adama here, and I've just been doing a little bit of mixing work, ready for some trial stuff, and then I thought I'm going to give you guys a few tips on how to save several $1,000s, somewhere between $5,000 and $8,000 off your chemical bill. Don't mess up your mixing procedure. Somewhere between $5,000 and $8,000 is about what you put into a big tank of chemical these days, and we've already started to get a few inquiries about blockages and about tanks that are gummed up. So I was here to give you a few little pointers on that. One of the key things that we see all the time is rush. And we know we've got a lot of ground to cover. There's certain weather conditions we've got to fit in. The seeder's right behind the sprayer in a lot of cases. But too much speed in the mixing process is the big killer. Lots of people are loading up with a lot of granules these days. And granules are designed, all granules are designed to bloom in the water. They don't dissolve straight away. They do need some time to dissolve. So if you're putting big loads of granules in, don't go putting chemicals straight on top of them. Okay, give them plenty of time, and you can see that is slowly going through the system. The granules are all different as well, so some dissolve faster and slower than others. Now, if you need to test some of this stuff that you're doing and want to do a test mix, you don't need anything flash. I'm out here in my shed, and these are not scientific. These are spaghetti jars from Coles. So all you need is something you can see, and away you go with mixing. So one of the things that is really important is getting your mixing order right. And if you jump onto our website, www.adama.com, you can download one of those mixing sheets. Put them in your spray rigs, put them in your spray booklets. Just stick them up wherever you've got guys working and the questions might come. Do that right, take your time, and you're probably not going to have too many problems. So just as I was thinking about it, we thought, well, okay, what do we put into a mix? So a really common mix these days is something like we've got over here. So we might have, if we're going into something like canola or lupins, we might have some granules, some simazine or some atrazine. We'll have some something like maybe propyzamide, which is an SC. We'll have some insecticide in there, which is possibly an EC. And then we'll have a knockdown like a glyphosate or spray seed paraquat, which are SLs. So if we have a look at what goes on in a tank mix of those things, the dry component, so the granules. We've got active ingredient, wetters, carriers, dispersants and fillers. There's 5 things in there. If we go with an SC, we've got active ingredient, emulsifiers, we've got a biocide to stop fungal growth, dispersants, absorbers, viscosity modifiers. These things are often pH dependent as well. There's 6 things in there. The ECs, we might have 1 or 2 in that mix. Active ingredient and emulsifier package, and you could have up to 3 emulsifiers in there. And then we get our SLs. So this is things like the paraquat and the glyphosate. So particularly with glyphosate, they're a salt formulation, and there's different salts. And each one of them requires a different surfactant package, which can then interact differently with these. So you'll have the active ingredient and anything up, the surfactant package might have 1 or up to 3 surfactants in there. And then we've got our adjuvants, so wetters, oils, LI 700 type products, those sort of things. And quite often people are putting 1 or 2 of them into this brew as well. So if we look at that, there's 20 different components, all trying to play happily in a spray tank. On top of that, we've then got water of varying quality, particularly if in times of water shortage, people take what they can get. So it's not hard to work out why sometimes things go wrong, particularly if you rush it at this point and this point before you start adding the other things. So there's a few tricks to do to try and prevent the problems arising. If you're doing a heavy-handed mix like this, particularly if you're using a potassium salt glyphosate, maybe put a little bit of adjuvant in before you put your glyphosate in there. That's not usually the way to do it, but in that instance it might work. If it goes gluggy, add some more wetter and see if it can help. or there are some other specialty products around, and probably one like Superlink is something you should have in your shed just in case things go pear-shaped, because if they go pear-shaped, you can just about bet your reseller's not going to be open, or you don't want to have a tank sitting there for a couple of hours while you go scouting around town to try and find some. So there's a few tips. Hopefully you don't have any problems. Please slow down. It's much easier to take an extra 10 or 15 or 20 minutes to mix up a tank than it is to take several hours and several $1,000s to clean one out. I don't want to get phone calls that say, hey Bev, which of these things has caused a problem? Because out of the 20 things in your tank, it's pretty hard to actually isolate it. So be careful, good luck with your spraying, and hopefully it all goes well. Thanks for listening.